Sweet. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Life Theories. We are here with you each and every week chatting about spirituality, life purpose, inner healing, growth, all kinds of things of that nature, our theories on these topics, our experiences on these topics. And we like to meet every week to chat about this stuff with you guys and share what we know and share what we've learned. So we've got Diana here with you from Trailblazers of the Universe joining us today, and special guest, Matt Beres, who is you're a coach, correct, Matt, in all these different areas?
Oh, hi, everybody. My name is Matt. I'm a world-renowned mindset coach. I specialize in dating, relationships, business, and how to reconnect with self. And I'm also a aura psychic.
Very cool. And when you say aura psychic, how is that different from just like a regular psychic or a psychic medium?
I can use a few keywords that are spoken and literally understand your insecurities, fears, doubts, disbeliefs, even the negative energy that is surrounding you, all the way down to energy blocks and what may be preventing growth and wellness in any aspect of life.
That's very cool. And do you tap into just mostly the language people are using, or are you able to actually see people's colors, like their auric colors and things like that, or their auric field, or how do you tap into that? Is it mostly a language thing, or do you see other multidimensional type things that help you with this information?
I see multidimensional. I actually see living energies.
Very cool.
He's done some energy readings for me, and they're pretty accurate. And he talks about like the divine and the acronic energy, which I think a lot of people don't know about. I had no idea what that was. So if you could explain that, I think it's a really cool thing.
Okay, well, I mean, first let's go over a little bit of brief definitions. The definition of archonic, that just means something that comes out at sunset and goes away at sunrise. Now, in modern society, you can take that as good or bad. Divine is good, archonic is bad. Now, when it comes to energy, there is only two kinds of energy. Energy at rest, which is source energy, and energy in motion. Energy that is in rest, that is put in motion, gives it purpose, meaning, and reason to its existence. All energy that science can actually study is only in motion. Energy at rest is what they call dark energy or dark matter. They know it's there, but it's not in motion to actually give purpose, meaning, and reason to actually study it. Now, when it comes to divine and archonic, everything runs in a sinusoidal wave. It means everything has the sum of zero. It is in perfect balance. As above, so below. As within, so is out. It basically loops like a figure eight. That's where that ancient symbol comes from. One side is divine, while the other side is archonic. They're in perfect balance.
Okay.
And it's when you are off balance with the energy you put in motion, you sway either divine or archonic, good or bad.
That's very cool. So when you do your readings, can you physically see or sense the imbalance that you're picking up, or is it more of like an intuitive just knowing, or like can you actually see where the imbalances are? Like there's almost like a visual cue of like something being too heavy on the person, or like can you see things like that, or is it just more of like a knowing?
Well, it's something that took me many years to get used to being able to go out in public, like to a grocery store. I literally see both of it at the same time.
Okay.
And every person all the time.
Wow. That must be pretty intense.
It's like a slight physical distortion of them, whether it's like facial features or structures, or You could tell like easily what's a fake smile or if somebody's like putting on a persona, the ego, the representation versus the true self. I see it all.
That's really cool.
And the way I read it is a lot of times it will speak to me and flat out tell me, hey, this is going on. Or I see the energy and it's like, no, this person is going to maintain being an addict. This person's going to maintain struggling with relapse. And then that's when the divine aspect has to come out to counterbalance it.
Okay. That's really neat. So when you were discovering these gifts, like you said, it took you quite a while to get even to a place where you can go into a grocery store. When you were discovering all of these things about yourself and noticing that, hey, I see all of these things in people, what did you do just to help people who may have these talents and these gifts as well, but they're not sure how to function with them, or they're not sure what to make of them? How did you A, discover that you had these gifts, and B, start being comfortable using them and working with them and integrating them into your regular life without feeling like, oh my God, I'm totally crazy?
Well, mine began at an early age. I'd say about 4 or 5. I went through a lot of traumatic events. I was basically beat every single day.
Oh, man.
And I would actually start seeing the bad, the dark energy around people. And I could actually anticipate what was going on before it transpired, like how it was going to play out.
Wow.
Kind of like a quick visual of a future and the next couple seconds or couple minutes. And then I would also, while it was transpiring, see the guilt, remorse, shame, and regret from the divine aspect of them. And the uncontrollable things that they couldn't control or stop or prevent. And it didn't take until I became an adult to really learn how to be comfortable and aware with it. I would say the first thing to do is you got to know yourself. You got to become aware of not the representation of you, not the persona, not the best foot forward, not what you want the world to see of you. That hidden person, when you look in a mirror after you get out of the shower, if you're not smiling at yourself, you're disconnected from yourself. Know that person behind closed doors first. Accept and embrace and understand. Then you can gain awareness in your abilities, because you're actually going to listen and hear yourself talk in your words and your thoughts in your conscious, subconscious, and unconscious. And it will literally guide you on a path to awareness to really fine tune everything.
That's cool.
I think it's kind of cool how you ended, how like you know, through, I always talk about transmuting energy and stuff and using, you know, our negative experiences really transforms. You know, even though that was a horrible, you know, what you experienced when you were younger, that's what kind of, how you started to realize your spiritual gifts, and you know, then you were able to use that to help other people. You know, how you do the energy readings and how I think it's just really amazing how you're able to do that.
I mean, in all honesty, we all learn through traumatic events.
Yeah. Yep.
We all learn through it. It's the perpetuation of the cycle that becomes the problem. Because we're aware of everything at all times. We know right and wrong. We know good or bad. We know what we tolerate and what we accept at all times. We just need to listen to ourselves to become aware. We can't control everything that happens to us, but how we choose to react, respond, learn, and grow from it is in our control at all times. That we are 100% accountable for.
Yep.
And what advice would you have for people that, like, maybe they are experiencing some of the traumatic things or just traumatic things and they can't get out of the loop, right? And they have the gifts, they know they have it, but they can't get past, like, those blocks, like all the negative, I guess you could say archonic energy or whatever, just like it's holding them back, from being like their best version. They feel too weighed down by. What advice would you give people to like try to break out of that? I mean, I guess everybody has their own cycle, their own process, timing, but some people really get stuck and can't, but they really want to, and it's like a battle, right? They're being pulled in two different like directions.
Great question.
I call it an ugly truth because I'm going to say what people don't want to hear. I'm sorry, but that's just how I am with this. Self-acknowledgement. You are 100% responsible for your life, your mindset, your emotional states, your spirituality, and your well-being. You cannot say, oh, but my ex did this. Oh, but my mom and dad did that. All you're doing is giving them your power.
Yeah.
And you are running yourself powerless over a situation. Yeah, I was beat every day as a child. You know what? I got a smile on my face, and I am blessed for it happening because I learned, grown, and took accountability for everything in my life. The situations that I put myself in that were self-sabotaging to set me up to fail. That's my accountability.
Yeah.
If I date somebody and they're crappy, that's on me. I missed the red flags. I chose to ignore them. I chose to have a tolerance level here instead of up here. That's on me. Self-acknowledgement is your greatest weapon because it hits the reset button on your neural psychology. You can't blame anybody else or come up with excuses when you face the truth of yourself.
It's true. That kind of goes along with what I learned in my Ho'oponopono training, where you literally take responsibility for everything in your life, and you are responsible for forgiving that thing, loving the part of you that created that, and just loving it back into balance, and basically taking full responsibility for everything in your life, who approaches you, how you live, what your financial situations are, your relationships, your communication, everything in your life is up to you. So it kind of goes along with the same principles as Ho'oponopono, but just a little bit different. It's kind of cool.
The second aspect of it is another hard truth for society to just swallow. I have no idea why this one's so difficult. If somebody doesn't like you, if somebody treats you like garbage, that has absolutely nothing to do with who you are as a person. If you do wrong to somebody, take accountability for it. And when you take accountability for it, understand that they are going to respond to what you did and what transpired. Accept it. But if you got a coworker or somebody on social media talking crap on your post, why are you caring? It has nothing to do with who you are as a person. Don't render yourself powerless by wondering if there is truth behind the BS that they're saying.
Yeah. And most people's reactions are based in their trauma and what's going on in their head, and not actually anything to do with you.
They're projecting.
They're projecting based on, this is what's bothering me. I'm going to assume that you're bringing this into it, when really that's just all in their head, and it literally has nothing to do with you. It's all about how they get triggered based on their traumas and things like that. So yeah, it's definitely something to look out for when, taking accountability for yourself, like you said. And, when things are going wrong, really like owning that and being aware that, wow, I put myself here. I made this decision. I allowed my boundaries to get broken. And I, put myself in this situation that created this, and like taking full ownership and responsibility and being aware of your part in where your life is going wrong or right. So.
Yeah, and this is huge also for entrepreneurs and people in business. But like spiritual business, a holistic business is like the hot commodity right now for entrepreneurship. Okay. If you are not helping yourself, how can you honestly believe that you can help someone
Yeah.
else?
Yeah.
How are you going to do the very best you can and give value to your customers if you don't even value all that you are and what you're doing in the first place? For business and all that, for any entrepreneurs that are out there, the more you heal yourself, the easier it is to do script writing, marketing, copywriting, sales. The more that your mindset and your emotional states are as one and you're given legitimacy behind what you're doing. If you aren't investing into yourself, how can we expect people to invest into ourselves, whether it's
Exactly.
business or dating?
Yeah. And that's something that was a hard pillow that I had to swallow last year. I was trying, well, it wasn't really last year, it was about 2 years ago. I was trying to get my retail space up and running. And there was a lot of things that I was doing that were right, but there was a lot of things that we're doing that weren't right for trying to get customers to come into my store. And I had a terrible mindset about it. And at first, I was very optimistic and positive, and then I kind of went downhill. And I was like, "Well, nobody's going to come into my store anyway. Nobody's ever come into my store. It doesn't really matter." And my mindset just went downhill so quickly, and I didn't do anything to try to correct it. I just let it fizzle out for some reason. And then COVID happened, and it was kind of like the part of me that was using the customers as my scapegoat. It's like, well, it's their fault. They're not coming in. It just surrendered to the, oh, okay, well, I guess my store is over now. And I just kind of let it fizzle out because COVID, instead of actually being like, no, I can make this work. And like my mindset had everything to do with the closure of that business and the lack of success of that business. Whereas my roommate and semi-business partner, his little business that he was running out of the same pop-up shop that I was managing, his business is still flourishing and like growing exponentially. And his mindset was much different than mine. And it was like, he kept kind of kicking me in the butt, being like, you're the one teaching me all this spiritual mindset stuff, but you're not doing that. But I just wasn't in a place to do more than, it felt like, share the information with him. I wasn't in a place that I could apply it to myself. And I guess I just didn't value myself in a way that allowed me to make use of that information. But somehow, some way, I was able to share it with him and allow him to use it. So the information was beneficial to one of us. But at the time, I wasn't valuing myself. So it really didn't do very much to know that information because I wasn't putting the time into me. I was just trying to find a scapegoat as to why everything's so shitty, instead of actually being like, oh, it's me. It's my mindset. This is me doing this. And I just refuse to acknowledge that. So it is a really big thing, like the things that you're talking about with this, because I've been there and it was not fun. And I'm in the process now of building my coaching program, and my mindset's completely different around it. And I feel like really grateful for the customers, the clients that I have in my life that already see me for my program or for my classes and my one-on-ones and things like that. And just like valuing myself and valuing my journey enough to really present that to people. And that's what I wanted to ask you about is when you're a coach and when you're somebody who's, making workshops and classes and things like that for people to come and make use of and learn from, is there any type of like platform or thing that you could suggest, like whether it be a program or a platform online or something to sort of help keep people on track to build a program? Do you know of anything like that that's there? Would you recommend just finding a personal coach to help you with that kind of thing?
Okay. Well, first I want to backtrack a little bit before I answer that question. Okay, you gave a prime example of divine and archonic energy being in motion. Now, how I remember how I said it's the figure eight.
Yeah.
Okay. Energy and motion as purpose, meaning, and reason is a continuous loop. Instead of you going to divine to archonic, good to bad, the loop ended up continuing like this.
Yeah.
That's archonic energy. Our cells, our thoughts create food for our cells. This is all biology 101. The more we feed our cells something, the more they crave it.
Yeah.
And that is archonic or divine energy, good or bad energy, essentially feeding off of what you're giving it. If your cells crave negativity, you draw negativity to you. And it will feed off of you until you shift your perception and perspectives. Just like divine will and good will feed off of you. But we don't want that bad stuff. We want that good stuff. That's okay to have this feed off of you. But the bad, we don't want to just perpetuate the cycle with it. That is what your story was, a prime example of divine and archonic energy in motion. Now, I want I wanted to backtrack to that because it's a great example. Okay. Now, when it comes to platforms for business, to creating a program, it depends on how you want to do the program. Some people do Facebook groups and make it private. A lot of people do it on Zoom. Me personally, I use Facebook Messenger or Zoom. It's there, like Facebook Messenger. It's free. You're already on Facebook. You're already messaging people. Use it for business. You could do video chats. You could do group calls. You could do audio. It's whatever platform you actually want to specifically design it for. You could even use MailChimp and create a sales funnel through it based off their emails. It's however you want to set it up. I would say pick a platform you're most comfortable with and begin there. Start small idea. And then just bring everything to it and allow it to naturally grow.
Okay, that's a good idea. I have so many platforms and so many things going all over the place. I'm like, how do I connect this? But that's a great idea to get everything funneled and like pointing everybody to the one main one that I want to kind of build my hub around. It's a great idea.
So I do have a question, I guess, on a business thing, because I know this is something that I struggle with. As far as like the coaching stuff goes, a lot of people that are in the spiritual coaching business, some of like I know at first when I didn't feel comfortable like just messaging people. You didn't want to come off kind of like more like a salesperson, right? So I know I struggle with that still to this day. I still do YouTube. I do a lot of things on Instagram, or I do TikTok, a bunch of different things. But as far as like directly getting clients, how would you recommend for people to, I mean, like, well, before I even say that, like, I know sometimes I get annoyed when coaches start to message me and they come off to, I already know, and we're impasse, right? I already know they're trying to sell me something and some shit I don't want. And I get irritated. So sometimes I have a thing, I don't know if it's just in my head, or I'm like, oh, I don't want to come off like that to somebody. So how do you come off in a way that's like, that you can get clients that doesn't come off too salesy, but it still shows like you're authentic, like you still seem authentic, and like what do you think the best method to like do that?
That's a great question.
There's many methods out there. I mean, if you researched it, I mean, there's probably over 1 million. But I can tell you guys what I did.
Yeah.
I when I started my business back in 2016 to 2017, I went international in 3 hours. I didn't message a single person. The next morning, my inbox had over 800 message requests asking for more input and what my business was about to learn more. And essentially, that began my business. I didn't even have a business at that point. That day, I created one. And I've been doing business ever since.
What did you do to get that 800 messages back? Like, what was your first move to create that?
The hardest thing for people in holistic services to do. Turn off the word I and get rid of self. I was literally bored on a Friday night going into Facebook groups that I followed, and a whole bunch of people were asking questions. How do I do this? How does this happen? Why do I keep dating these people? Why does this keep happening to my business? Instead of going, hey, I could coach you, I simply just commented honestly and tried to help them on their posts for absolutely nothing. Give value so you can receive the gifts of that value. If you're a spiritual coach, but you ain't going to share your secret with the rest of the world unless they pay you, why would they pay you? They don't know nothing about you, what you do, how you do it, your methods, your personality. They know nothing. And don't be afraid to do a free consult. I never charge anything for
that's
my
what you
first
did for
consult,
me.
ever.
And you didn't even ask me to sign up after. I think you just like, hey, if you're interested in anything in the future, but it wasn't like you were trying to like press me for a sale or something. And then because of that, if you had come off that way, I probably would have said no, because I don't like people are like too pushy. But it was the way. I mean, I like to say it like kind of like with manifestation, right? You say I don't chase, I attract. I kind of try to use that. And that's what worked for you, and then that does work for me for when I implement that a little more.
Yeah, because I'm going to say this, like everyone's looking for branding and all this other stuff. When you're a coach, you are your damn brand.
Yeah.
How you do business, how you approach people, the input and the insight you give, you are your brand.
Yeah.
You can't, if you're giving your money to a branding agency, you're wasting your damn time. You are your brand, ultimately, if you are a coach or a psychologist or a medium or whatever the case may be. You are that brand. I always give my first one is a free consult. Yeah. I don't even think of an upsell. It is, how can I help them today?
Yeah.
If they like the help I give, they will contact me to get more.
Yeah.
If they don't like it, then they don't. At least I learned and grown from my methods and what I did during that consult. So maybe I can fine tune how I did it.
Yeah. That's really cool.
That is how coaches succeed. Period. How you do business, not what your business is.
And it's also kind of like you when you add value and you focus on adding, not focus on the money, not focus on sale. When you focus on adding value to people, it will come back to it's like then you get that in return, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have a lot of coaches saying, I am this, I am that, I have this credential, I have that credential. I have all this stuff. I used to be on TV. I used to do this. I used to do that. Why can't I get clients? And I said, have you removed out of the equation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, one thing you named is actually for your customers.
It's funny.
Other than them going, good job on your accomplishments in life. I don't know what half that is, but good job anyways.
Yeah.
That's the biggest issue with coaches. Get out of the way and just focus on giving value to your customers.
Yeah. There's no I in the word value.
Like some people, I think, that are trying to be coaches, right, have imposter syndrome, right? They're like, oh, I don't have these certifications, but you know what? What I do have is life experience. I can tell you how to get through mental health issues, relationship issues, addiction. You know what I mean? Like, I know we've talked about that before, Matt, with when we had the relationship video about even about how therapists, right, they how they keep you coming back, right, and like they don't even have experience in the thing you're trying to get over, right? I mean, yeah, they got a degree on paper, okay, they got this, they completed this training program, but I would rather go to somebody to help me for whatever, like it's for like like if I need a business coach, I'd rather have someone who has a successful bit, like it actually is experience, not someone who studied it, right? So I think you're good just the way you are. The knowledge and experience you have is enough to help people. You don't need to have all these, credentials, right? So
I actually 100% agree with it. On contrary to popular belief in society, education just means how much information you are exposed to in a certain field. Intellect is mental capacity and the ability to apply it. Most of my clients are life coaches and psychologists and astrologers and people who have actually went to school for all this stuff.
Yeah.
But yet my life experiences help them with theirs.
Yeah.
Their education is here, but it's the mental capacity. Anybody can talk about addiction, but if you haven't dealt with it, you truly don't understand what your clientele are going through. If you've never really been through abuse, you're not really going to understand how terrifying it could be to have somebody just tap you on the shoulder or start shaking when you get a hug. Like it's the life experiences. Now, psychologists, life coaches, everybody has life experiences. Apply it to your business and close the damn textbook.
I just notice, I'm in a lot of spiritual groups, and people are like really obsessed with like twin flames, right? They're obsessed with like to an insane degree. I always wanted to ask you this question, but we never got to it. It's like, I just want to hear your view. I mean, everyone who's watches probably know. I mean, even if you are yourself, that's whatever. But I just want to hear your perspective. I've been dying to ask you that for a while.
I'm curious to know your answer on this one too.
Well, I'm going to get a lot of hate for it.
It's okay.
Probably, yeah.
Okay. You know what twin flame actually stands for? Bull and shit. That's exactly what twin flame stands for. Okay, first of all, a twin flame has absolutely the ancient methods of what twin flames mean. Like stuff like predating Christianity, BC era that talked about twin flame. Okay, it has absolutely nothing to do with dating whatsoever. It has to do with you being down here struggling with bad negative energy, and somebody is up here in divine good energy, and this person helps pick you up, dust you off, smacks you in the ass and says, get back out there. That's what it's actually about. It's about you want to be surrounded by people who lift you up in this world, who are your biggest fans, who cheer you on, who are there to be by your side through the good times and the bad times. That's what a twin flame is. It has nothing to do with dating whatsoever, period, until about, 2016, 2017. Then it decided, that's a perfect Disney fairy tale ending relationship. You know what? We can't promote Disney anymore because Pixar is sitting there smacking our butt. So let's go to this twin flame era. It's the same crap. It's bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people in twin flame situations right now. And there's this whole fairy tale fantasy of your twin flame is your number one. It's the most beautiful thing if you guys can get together. I know a lot of people are in twin flame relationships that aren't beautiful fairy tales, myself included. My twin flame relationship blew up in my fucking face. But like you said, he did step in. He came, he picked me up. We picked each other up when we needed it. He did some shit that made the whole thing fall apart, but we really did pick each other up in a part of our lives where we needed it. And knowing him and meeting him amplified my spirituality and my quest for knowledge and my quest for self-awareness, and really triggered all these things inside me to open myself up to all of this stuff just by meeting him. And he really did springboard me into this, and realizing, holy shit, this is my twin flame. That opened up a whole bunch of other doors to me. But I've known right from the beginning, I'm like, this is no fairy tale. That part of it must be written by, somebody trying to make a buck off of this is the new love thing. Because the way I see it, twin flames are simply two people, two bodies sharing a soul. But that doesn't mean you're going to fall in love with each other and be together. That just means you've got so much karma and so much stuff for your soul to work through. You had to split up and do it separately because there's so much energy there and there's so much going on that you couldn't do it in one body. You had to split up. You had to divide to learn and deal with all the karma that was created by your soul. It has to be taken care of in two bodies now. That doesn't mean you're going to fall in love. That doesn't mean it's going to be a Cinderella relationship like fairy tale. It just means that you guys share a soul and you share karma. That could mean love. That could mean adultery. That could mean all kinds of horrible things. But it could also mean a whole bunch of good things. It just depends on what karma you have to deal with. So I totally agree with you. This whole fairy tale fantasy of twin flames have to come together and create this version of love. It's like, no, there's just a lot of karma there that this soul needs to deal with. And it needed to be dealt with by two different vessels instead of one now. That's the way I see it anyway.
I mean, I'm gonna simplify it for you. Now, everybody has this one person they know in their life that they could go a while without talking to, but when they spoke to them, it was as if you guys talked every day.
Yeah.
Everybody's had that at least one point in their life. That's a twin flame. Doesn't mean you guys are dating, doesn't mean you guys are going to get married, doesn't mean anything. A twin flame can be anybody. It could be a family member. It could be a friend. It could be a complete stranger. It could be a couch. It could be anybody. It is this somebody that your true authentic self can be expressed to and they understand it. And they can express it back in return. It has nothing to do with dating whatsoever. When people add the label, this is my twin flame.
Or they say soulmate, twin flame, and there's a lot of confusion. And look, for me, it's all, I don't really speak on it because, I'm not really sure. But if I do have a twin flame romantically, I don't want to meet them because I want someone that's like, I don't want to deal with it. The stuff I read in these groups are insane, and I think people.
That's why I don't look at that shit.
Well, and I think people justify.
Label, they don't date the person.
Yeah, well, and not only that, but they let that justify like abuse or like bad behavior, right? Or like being treated like shit. But you're like, oh, it's okay, it's my twin flame, but. And then how would you even know if that is? And then I don't know I'm in some crazy groups. I mean, there's a lot of rabbit holes we go down. But I just look to read the comments because I'm like, I need my popcorn now. It's like a Lifetime series. It's like a crazy like this. I can't even believe what I read. And I'm just like, man, this doesn't really sound like a fun journey. I'm good on that if that's what that
There's
is.
a lot of people out there that are like, oh, he's my twin. It's like, no, he's not, because there's a lot of people that get so hung up on wanting to find their twin. The moment they're really crushing hard on someone, they put the pieces in their head that's like, oh, this must be my twin flame. It's like, no, like your soul will know. Like the
find
moment
yourself, man. If you want to find your twin flame, find your own. So stop worrying about finding a twin flame. Connect with wouldn't it be like if you just found yourself? Can like work on yourself, man. Like people get obsessed with that to avoid their own issues. I think sometimes,
There's no difference between a Disney fairy tale illusion, your imagination creating a hypothetical scenario of what a perfect partner and relationship is going to be, than anybody who says they're dating their twin flame. It's just a different label. Disney fairy tale illusion, twin flame. It's the exact same end result. You're dating the idea of somebody that was created in your head and not actually the person. And you're going, oh crap, this ain't working out. Why? Because you never once saw the person for who they are. You saw them for who you wanted them to be.
Yeah, it's like you create in your head. Yeah.
I mean, that was something that I
Yeah.
had to deal with. Yeah, I had to deal with that in my twin flame. It was like not in my relationship with him. It was not falling into that and not, getting into the illusion of like, oh, he's so perfect. Oh, this and that. And it's like my soul felt very strongly that there was a strong connection, but I had to give myself reality checks constantly and be like, oh, he said that, but my intuition says this, and maybe he's lying to me. So there was a couple of things where like I really had to take things with a grain of salt, because my whole soul was like, oh, everything he's saying is true, and how could he lie to me? And like wrapped up in this fucking illusion. But my intuition would be like, you know that he's lying, right? Like, you know that's not true. And I would just be like, I know it's not true, but it's okay.
That's the trick with twin flame, though.
Yeah.
Your soul always knows the truth. It's the ego that loves to deny it.
Yeah. Oh,
most people say it's their soul. That's your ego talking.
Yeah.
No, they wouldn't do that because I want them to be this.
That was my ego talking. Absolutely, it was.
That's ego. Okay, yeah. Your soul communicates through your intuition. When it goes, nah, like this is like BS. No.
Yeah.
That's actually coming from self.
Yeah.
Not from ego.
There was definitely parts of it where it was like, okay, my soul knows there is definitely a connection between me and this guy. There is definitely something there. There is definitely something that if we exist on different timelines, this probably could be beautiful and absolutely freaking amazing. But the way I'm seeing it right here, right now, him in front of me, everything that's happening is like, this is no fairy tale princess story here. Like there's nothing, everything he's even saying to me is kind of like, I have to take it with a grain of salt because I don't know how true any of it is. Because I want to believe him. I want to believe everything he's saying is true, just the way that he says it is. But when my gut's saying, you should maybe question that, and I've got friends saying, maybe you should question that, I'm kind of like, okay, well, I'm stuck in the middle because I know I have this connection to him, but he's still lying to me. So I still need to give myself reality checks constantly. I don't anymore because we're not talking anymore. But the amount of reality checks I had to give myself in being friends with him was just crazy.
well, I'm gonna leave this at this right here.
Okay.
If you want to know if you found the right person, you won't have to put in a belief if they're telling you the truth or not, because you'll know that they are.
Yeah.
You wouldn't question, do they find me attractive? You know they do through their actions.
Yeah.
Do they care about me? Do they love me? You would never question that because it's there in plain sight. It's up to you to see that truth. If you have to question that truth, then it ain't true.
Exactly. Yep. And watching actions too. Like if words aren't matching actions, that's a telltale sign right there. If they're saying one thing, but the actions are completely opposite, you got to start paying attention to that.
Legit people in the dating scene and in relationships don't need to say anything because their actions speak for themselves.
Exactly.
Period. Guys out there and women out there, tune it in. Download that. Your words mean nothing. What you do means everything.
It's true.
You can't say, oh, but I love you, but you know what? You're a piece of garbage today. No, that ain't love. That's abuse. That's mental and emotional abuse.
Manipulation too.
Yes. And that is because you are actually power hungry and you want to be able to manipulate and control somebody to bend them to your will because you are afraid to invest into somebody fully emotionally. Sorry, but I'll call that out.
That's a good one, man.
So people really need to understand this. Actions will speak louder than words. Do or do not. If you ain't gonna apply yourself, don't date.
Yes.
We can close up now. Thank you so much, Matt. Like Diana was saying, for coming on. Your advice is always so welcome and so helpful. We love having you on. So thank you for joining us again today, and hopefully we'll have you back on again.
All right. Looking forward to it. Everyone have a good day.
All right. Bye.
Yeah. And if you guys enjoyed the show today, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that little bell so that you get notified when we put out other videos.
Yep.
Awesome.
All right.
Cheers, guys.
Bye,
Thank you so much. Bye.